Mr. Templeton for those changes in the paper. I have to say, 25 years in this council there, and this is probably the one paper that really stirred my hackles more than anything in 25 years. Myself and 5 other members, democratically elected by the people of Elgin to represent the people of Elgin, and yet in nowhere in this paper does it even mention Elgin members. It talks about probably yourself, leader. It talks about the leader of the opposition, whoever the leader of the opposition is. I didn't know we had one. I know that we have joint leaders of the largest opposition group. We have Councillor Keith as a group leader of the Labour group, but no way do we have a leader of the opposition, and we never have done, though it was tried 17 years ago when the multi-member ward system was set up. As I told Councillor Paul at the time, there's no way, Councillor Paul, you will ever be my leader. That was my words to her. And Councillor Paul gave me the wink back. So there we go. So that's where we are. So the paper is wrong in how it sets that forward. I wonder what the people of Elgin, if this was to go through as was noted there, I wonder what the people of Elgin would wonder that 6 democratically elected members of Elgin, potentially within this paper, would not sit on a board for Elgin, deciding what happens in Elgin. Totally unacceptable. And how we got to that position really rankles with me, I have to say. I sat on the Elgin Cars project, which was a similar project, much smaller, where it was Elgin members that sat on that, not members from across there, no council leader, no leader of the opposition, whoever that may be, as I've said. So I have to question this paper there, that it seems to be aimed at doing away with the democratically elected members of an area in which it's there to deal with. Totally unacceptable. I know I've had discussions with yourself, leader. I've had discussions with the author of the report. So they know my views, you know my views, Mr. Templeton knows my views. What Mr. Templeton's saying there about 2 to 4 members, that probably opens things up a lot more for what I'm saying. My view is that we have the 3 members of each political party for Elgin to sit on that board with the other 3 as their substitutes. To me, that makes sense. That would be dealing, and the people who have elected us to deal with issues for Elgin, I'm sure will be happy with that. He said it so, the title in the agenda, Elgin long term. It doesn't say Forres, Bucky, Keith, Lossiemouth. I'm sure that if I was the council leader or the leader of the largest opposition group, and it was money for Forres, and they were saying, why is that Elgin councillor here fighting for us when we've elected members for our own group? This is totally unacceptable, and I know that you may have an amendment on the views that I'm putting forward, so I'll let you come forward on that, council leader.
Before I do that, though, I will bring in others. I'll bring in Councillor Keith.
Thank you, Council Leader. Councillor Divers got in before myself, and I'm going to have a word with him about that as his group leader.
It won't work.
It's fair to say I've known Councillor Divers for 30 years, and he's the most even-tempered person that I know. And I've sat with him in meetings whereby there's been difficult decisions and whatever. But you know, that's probably the most angry that I've ever heard, Councillor Divers. And as I said, he hasn't left me an awful lot of room from his comments as to what I was going to say. But really, you know, the councillors in Elgin have got the democratic mandate, and this is a long-term strategy for the town of Elgin or the city of Elgin, whichever way you want to look at it, and we must not be sidelined. And you know, given that Mr. Templeton did put in terms of paragraph 6.3, you know, about the fact that it can be between 2 to 4, gives us a little bit of room there, and therefore the omission will take as being an advertence rather than anything else. So, as I say, it'd be ludicrous if we were to proceed without Elgin councillor involvement. I think we would be a laughing stock. Equally, I do understand that Elgin's like the county town for money, and that, but when you look at who's on the board, you have the MP has to be on it. The proposal is for the MSP to be on it. These people have, obviously, because of the MP for money, they've got that wider constituency to look at, and no doubt will bring their the views of what they're picking up from out with Elgin to the table. And it may well be, of course, that there'll be other bodies that will be approached to be a member of the committee. And indeed, we did have a meeting, and there were on Monday, and there were bodies mentioned which would have a Murray-wide focus to their work. So it's not as if this would be Elgin only, but I think when it comes to the councillor membership, I think that I would certainly be looking to make sure that the Elgin councillors are represented. As Councillor Divers said, there may well be a role for the council leader on top of that, but certainly in no way can I agree to the sidelining of the Elgin members. I do agree with devolution, after all, fought for it at the time, and therefore we devolve this to the members in Elgin.